I'm using the BAMD, the DES75D. The D stands for dry. It's a really wonderful drying thing that gets the moisture out of the air before it gets to the machine. That extends the life of the ASMI by many years. The S is for silent, and although you will hear it, it's relatively quiet compared to what an air compressor could be. And the 75 stands for the capacity of these things. This is an air hose. You have to get a specialised air hose that will take 8 bar. So get yourself one a bit higher than 8 bar for a little bit of a buffer as well. And this comes all the way through to the back of the ASMI machine. So it's always advisable before you do anything with compressed air, is go and watch some YouTube videos and type in air compressor fails YouTube, and just get to know just how powerful and how dangerous these things are if you don't do them properly. So so you get a bit of awareness of just, this isn't a toy, this isn't kids, dogs, nothing should be walking around here and getting anywhere near close to this machine, because it's very, very powerful. Look, done properly, perfectly safe, but you really need a good safe space to use these things. So before you ever do anything with an air compressor, make sure it's all switched off. It is. Make sure it's always decompressed, so you can actually see the release valve right at the bottom. So release valve that. In case there is compressed air in here, if you ever want to release this, which you may want to do one day, make sure you don't be standing in front of it, as it were. So it's here to release it. Just in case it flew out, you want it to fly out that way. These things are very safe when done properly. So you have one valve here. The specs of what this valve is will be told to you by the compressor. Different air compressors have simply different valves. This is the back of the ASMI. This again, you release like this, and that's the valve on that side. And to put it back, you don't do this every time. You can generally set this up once and keep it like that for many, many years. So make sure you hear that click, and make sure you hear that click there. Rightio. So that's me doing it. Now over to my trusted assistant. Just undo it and click it back in again.
So I want this to. Right. That
comes out. So nice and easy. Click back in, you use it. Nice and right.
Okay, so get it out. That one. Put it back in. There you go.
Great, that's so good.
Okay.
And similarly,
this side.
That's a little release clip as well, but you don't yank it, you just
Put this way backwards.
I need to remember right, listen. Have a go.
Which bit? This
I've
bit?
forgotten, I think it's this bit. I think you grab it here,
oh, right, okay.
and then pull it out.
Right.
Try again.
Out.
Now the other thing is, I have this air compressor facing the wall, and I do that in case one day, so if this wire, this hose was somewhere else, in any sort of path where anybody might move, one day somebody's going to catch their foot in it. So that's why it's looking that way. If there's ever any fail in that valve, I always have it facing the wall, so it'll hit the wall rather than me or somebody else in the room. Just to put a little bit of extra safety buffer around these things. So then this part is, to dry the air, it takes the water out of the air. It's best when you're using this machine to have an oil-free air compressor and a dry one, and for your own safety, for your own sanity and everybody else around you, silent as well. And for the dry part, it will get rid of the water into this thing here. So this is, every now and then you open this, I've left this here for this video. You unscrew this, take this out, and then you dispose of this water. Now, occasionally, this thing here will fall off, and it'll make a big noise. This is some sort of silencer, basically. Otherwise, it makes noise every time it. So if it does come off, then you just put it back. You do this when there's no air compressing thing. It's all switched off. It's all decompressed, and then you kind of put that on there. So I'm going to get rid of this water here, and you screw this one back on, like that. The air pressure thing is something you set when you first use these things, and in this machine, you set it by pulling out this thing. and you're twisting the knob to the right. And what you want is 8 bar of output pressure, which is about 110, 120 psi's. And then, which most air compressors, the half decent, will go up to 8 bar. That's your maximum. There are a few, you'll usually be paying quite a premium to get a 10 bar compressor.
So we'll have it facing the wall. What happens when you switch it on? Would the indicator go up?
The indicator goes up, yes. Yeah.
And where would it go between?
It'll go all the way up to
8.
Up to 8, yes.
And what's the second one?
That's how much pressure's inside. So what happens is, when you initially switch it on, it'll rumble for a minute, 2 minutes or so, fill up. Then we'll use the air, we're using the ASMI, and it'll empty some of the air, When it's got to a stage where it's emptied enough, it'll refill up. Now you can get smaller ones, and you can get oil lubricated compressors. They can work perfectly well, but eventually they'll clog the ASMI up. To decompress at the end of the session, if you open it, if you were to do that and have your fingers near there and open it, you could blow your fingers off, and also blow your eardrums out as well. It's very loud. So I get one of these things, something of a similar shape. It's that particular shape I'm after. This bit here. So I tend to open it by sliding something here, like a little wedge thing, and I slide it down there, and I rotate it slightly to the side until I get it, and I'll let that decompress over a period of 10-15 minutes while I'm driving home. If you need to decompress fast, then you put these on, and then you do it a bit louder, but you still leave the room, because there might be harmonics that these things don't catch. I know a lot of people, when they go on the gun ranges and they wear these things, they still get hearing damage because it doesn't. So on a normal day, what we're going to do is, I suppose the first thing would be to close that valve. To open it.
And that's where you put the slidey finger.
Yeah. So if you were to open it like that, then that's open now.
Right.
So that you don't want it open, you want it closed, and closed it that way around.
Yep.
And to open it when it's later on, if you were to do that and slide that in, keep your fingers away. Just how you do it.
There to there.
That's one way of doing it. How I do it, I eventually worked out, is if you can just slide it in a bit, like that, and then you rotate it.
Okay.
That's a more controlled way of. There you go. And that's the other good reason to use the earmuffs, because until you get the technique of that, it's like, oh, it's too loud, too quickly. And so yeah, just keep your fingers out of the way, and all nice and safe. So we have got that closed. Right. So then what we do, I would suppose, is switch on the power. I wait till it's finished, and then I plug this thing into the back there, and it makes a whoop noise and comes to life. So what I haven't shown you, and I should have shown you before, bits and pieces, is this handpiece. When you first get this handpiece, you screw this thing in this way, and then this thing goes like in there. That's a little screw thing that you kind of like twist in, i.e. like that. No, it's not a switchy thing. No, it's doing just like that. Okay, so doing this. That's that. That goes in like just a switchy thing that goes in. And you don't need to You don't need to super tighten this. This is just, you do this with your hand, and just to get to the stage where it's stopped. You don't need to get anything to twist that in. And then this one here is just a simple kind of plug-in thing, and that's it.
And
That's the
what
control.
is this one for?
That's where the air comes through,
Right.
and that's where the electrical switch comes through.
Right,
The electrical.
okay.
This is like, the way you have power-assisted hand tools, like a power-assisted drill. This is basically its old name was power-assisted. So you wait a moment or two until that.
That normally takes how long? So that's
There you go. Joining in, that can normally take that long, but about 2 minutes. So now, what we can do is we can get hold of this and stick it into the back of this thing.
This one. Show me this one here.
And then you do it, and listen, it just wakes up. Always makes you jump. If it doesn't make you jump, you're not frightened enough of the air compressor. Now, a little bit of maintenance that you have to do, and it's usually good to do it at the end of every session. I'll pan this round so you can see it like this. There's two things here, and they're filters, and they are micron filters. I think it's like 5 microns, not 1 micron or 10 microns, whatever. And that takes the dust particles out of the air. And they also take some water, these also collect water. So classically, when you go to some ASMI therapist and they'll have a small compressor that's maybe an oil compressor or not as super duper as the one I've got, these things will have water in them. And so you only do this when it's fully compressed. Don't do this while it's off, because it'll break it, right? But what you do while it's fully compressed, again, get your fingers out of the way. These things turn round, so I've got them pointed away, and you press it in.
And it'll just like a pressure cooker.
Yeah, it'll spit out what's in there. Like that.
Okay.
And that. But sometimes it goes pshh. But the thing is, this particular, this shows how good this air compressor is. I've never had anything in there that I've seen. There's never been any water vapour in there at all. It's easy, just do one go at the end of the session, because there's a lot of these things you can't see, they're very small. But if you've got a slightly cheaper compressor, then you'll actually see water at the bottom of that.
Okay.
You just do one go at the end of the session, because there's a lot of these things you can't see, they're very small.
Right.
But if you've got a slightly cheaper, it does sound snobbish saying that, it does terribly sound snobbish, doesn't it? Oh, what the heck, let's enjoy it. Then you'll actually see water at the bottom of that.
Okay.
And then you kind of keep on, if you see the water spray till it comes out. So, and that protects the handpiece from kind of warring out. And the other thing, when you're going to be using this machine, make sure your hands are dry. You know, your patients and you wash your hands, and sometimes there'll be a bit of water cleaning up bits and pieces. You don't want water on these things; it'll wreck it. So make sure everything's perfectly dry.